I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 14. My mother didn't really believe in it and attributed my problems with focusing to the normal state of a teenage boy's mind. My teachers, however, were adamant that I was hyperactive and had trouble focusing, and begged my mother to get me evaluated. She finally relented and took me to a specialist who diagnosed me with mild ADHD. At the time, I was thrilled to find out there was a reason I was so terrible at turning in assignments and paying attention in class. But as I've gotten older and my ability to focus has improved, I've started to think my mother may have been right. I believe that our society's increasing willingness to diagnose children and young teens, boys especially, with ADHD, and prescribe them powerful stimulants to combat it is a mistake. The prescription medication given for ADHD is often more harmful to young people than most problems with focus, and the rate that these prescriptions are being given out is only increasing. In this video, I will use Maddux's Stopping the Madness to argue that the label of ADHD is meant to pathologize common youth behavior and facilitate the reproduction of social classes through the school system and prescription medications. Maddux's Stopping the Madness seeks to do away with the illness ideology and instead promotes positive psychology, a method of psychology that seeks to improve well-being and happiness. Maddux argues that terms like symptom, diagnosis, and illness have pathologized and medicalized psychology. In the words of Maddux, these terms portray the people seeking help as passive victims of intrapsychic and biological forces beyond their control. He believes that psychology should be focused on improving quality of life, not diagnosing people as abnormal or sick. Maddux also argues that the societal structure of mental disorders is meant to maintain and expand the power of those already in power, in the same ways that race, gender, and social class do. To Maddux, mental illness as we know it, and as seen in the DSM-5, is a way to tell people how to live their life. Maddux's goal is to do away with the value-laden system that we depend on to classify, categorize, and pathologize problems in living. He wants to allow folks to decide and pursue what they desire, not what somebody else has decided is the right way to live. The DSM-5's definition of ADHD unnecessarily pathologizes relatively common youth behavior. Some of the symptoms mentioned include squirming in their seat, having trouble staying organized, having trouble waiting their turn, and is often easily distracted. I implore you to go into a middle school classroom for a day and observe the actions of the students there. Chances are you will see multiple children who display these behaviors over the course of a school day. I believe that Maddux's framework can offer an alternative to the pathologization of young folks who have trouble focusing. The truth is that most kids do not want to sit in a classroom for 7 hours a day, 5 times a week. The school day as we know it is a method of reproducing the working class, to numb people from a young age to be accustomed to sitting inside for a quarter of their day, doing things they do not want to do. When a child acts out against this system, we brand it as a disorder, an abnormal behavior that is unacceptable according to the values of our society. Capitalism and its constantly growing need for labor mandates that schools cultivate an obedient and compliant population of workers who will go to their job 5 days a week and do as they are told without questioning authority or acting outside of the careful guidelines our society has set in place. Maddux's assertion that the pathologization of problems in living serves a specific power structure rings especially true when it comes to what we define as ADHD. Now, I am not suggesting that we no longer make school compulsory for kids. But why must it be such a tedious and monotonous endeavor? We must find ways to encourage students to want to learn. When I was in middle school, I could hardly sit in my chair for 5 minutes in class without drawing on my hand or talking to a friend. But you could hand me Robinson Crusoe or My Side of the Mountain, and I would read the entire book in a day. Children are creative, and they are interested in learning if you give them a reason to learn. We've essentially pathologized young people's desire to break free from the social reproductive system and blocked their avenues towards creativity and critical thought. The result of this pathologization of common youth behavior is that doctors, teachers, and parents want to find a way to fix the child's problem. As a result, young children are put on powerful stimulants at a young age. The National Center for Biotechnology Information, NCBI, estimates that the prevalence of ADHD in children in the US increased by 41% from 2003 to 2011. The same report found that total amphetamine usage in the US has increased 2.5-fold from 2006 to 2016. Even worse, the report states that the increase in ADHD diagnoses was especially pronounced among low-income children. The people in charge of maintaining social order have pathologized problems with focus to reproduce inequalities in the lower class. At the same time, they have pushed powerful prescription amphetamines on these children to medicate them into social obedience so they can feed them into the labor market meat grinder. The diagnosis of ADHD as a mental disorder has proven to be an effective tool in the social reproductive system. There is so much more I want to say about this topic that I cannot fit into this video, so instead, I would like to leave you with a hypothetical. Imagine a school system that, even just one day a week, gave individual students the opportunity to pick what they learn about for the day. It could be painting, history, fashion design, whatever they want. How many kids do you think you would see displaying symptoms of ADHD? Thank you.